outside.
Yeah, One of somebody else had ideas.
Go right there, right there. Yeah, listen, like the pen was Brittany. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna start crying.
I know, I hear you.
Just because she's share a chair.
I forgot your name, Jake. Yeah, see that's on our phone.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We are going to call the council meeting to order. We're going to stand and have the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we're going to have a moment of silence. Allegiance to the flag.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sabosley, call to order, please. Councilman Dern.
Yes.
Councilman Majernik.
Here.
Councilman Purcell is absent. Councilman Schlock.
Here.
Councilman Seitz.
Here.
Councilman Taylor.
Here.
Councilwoman Rossler.
Here.
Mayor Schlegel is present. We do have a quorum. Thank you, sir. I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report for the month of May 2024.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Taylor and a second by Ms. Rossler. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the expenses for the month of May 2024.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Majernik. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Schlock. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th, 2024 council meeting.
I'll make that motion. I'll second that.
I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Seitz and a second by Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Brings us to recognition of achievements in the community.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first ones I'm going to honor tonight is the 2024 Plum Girls Lacrosse Team. Would you girls come on up here, please? Just line up in front. Just line up, one single line. And don't look at me, look at the cameras, they're gonna take it. Now, I'm gonna try to pronounce all your names. And if I make a mistake, I apologize ahead of time. And this is achievements in the community, and I don't care what sport or what level of sport one plays. When you go 19-0 for the season, that's an accomplishment. Now, with that said, this is a proclamation honoring the 2024 Plum U12 Girls Lacrosse Team. Whereas, the Plum Youth U12 Girls Lacrosse Team has achieved an extraordinary level of success, remaining undefeated with a stellar record of 16-0 during the regular season, which included 2 impressive shutouts, and further showcasing their dominance by achieving a perfect 3-0 record during their season-ending Winner's Edge tournament. And whereas, throughout the season, the Plum Youth U12 Girls Lacrosse team demonstrated exceptional skills, teamwork, and sportsmanship, scoring a remarkable total of 185 goals while allowing only 56 goals against, showcasing their commitment to excellence both on the offensive and defensive ends of the field. And whereas the dedicated coaches of Plum Youth 12 Girls Lacrosse Team, namely Renee Geiger, Josh Ligo, Carly Chinini, Deanna Mag, and Gian Covone, I'm sorry if I mispronounced, have provided exemplary leadership, guidance, and mentoring to the players, instilling in them the values of hard work, determination, and perseverance. And whereas the players of Plum Youth U12 Girls Lacrosse, including Leah Covone, Mara Klippa, Talia Morio, Lily Hanley, Peyton Ligo, Ayla Mag, Chloe Fox, Liz Generuski, Angelina Alturo, Charlotte Meising, Stacy Schoonover, Tara Freeney, Aria Haslett, Kira Geiger, Ivy Klaus, I'm missing one here, Liv Morgan, Emma Litzinger, Nevea Nizer, Mia Blewett, Leanne Rossetti, Gia DeLuca, Sophia Lesterick have showcased their talent, dedication, and sportsmanship throughout the season, bringing pride and joy to their families. Did I miss anybody? I didn't miss anybody. I mispronounced names, I know that, but I didn't miss any. Thank you. And whereas the impressive achievements of the Plum Youth U12 Girls Lacrosse highlight the positive impact of youth sports in promoting physical fitness, teamwork, and character development. Now therefore I, Harry R. Schlegel, Mayor, along with Council, do hereby call upon all the residents to join us in celebrating the remarkable accomplishments and outstanding sportsmanship of Plum Youth U12 Girls Lacrosse, and in recognizing the hard work, dedication, and talent of its coaches, players, and supporters. Let us applaud Plum Youth U12 Girls Lacrosse for their historic, undefeated season, and let us continue to support and encourage them as they inspire other youth athletes through their passion for the sport and commitment to excellence. In witness whereof, I, Harry R. Schlegel, have hereunto set my hand on this 10th day of June, 2024. Girls, now, Who's the coach, or who do I give this to? Because I don't want these girls to fight over this.
Oh, I'll take it.
You want it?
I'll take
Come on up, you sit first. Give it to the coach.
She's the new coach. Good job, girls.
Okay, girls, thank you very much. Please take a seat. And this is always a fun time for us up here, as well as recognizing all these accomplishments our young people are doing. This is a proclamation honoring the 2023-2024 Plum 5th grade girls basketball team. Girls, would you come on up? Whereas the hard work, dedication, sportsmanship, talent, and exceptional team chemistry of the 2023-2024 Plum 5th grade girls basketball team accomplished many things in 2024 and finished with a 10-2 record that enabled these student athletes to win the Pittsburgh Youth Basketball League. And whereas by defeating teams from Pine Richland, North Allegheny, Mars, and North Hills schools, winning the semifinals 27-23 over Pine Richland, and winning the league championship by defeating Mars 18-16. They brought honor to Plum Boro School District, and their families. And whereas the 2023-2024 Plum 5th grade girls advanced to the Pennsylvania State Middle School Tournament by winning the Pittsburgh Youth Basketball League. And whereas they could not have achieved these accomplishments without all 10 players performing to the highest degree. These include Ariana Tavella, Ava Rose Smith, Davina Brooks, Harlow Olzak, Hayden Gadula, Lily Devine, Michaela Morgan, Penny Brzezinski, Elena Hadley, and Ronnie Schmidt performed at a high standard all season. And whereas the individual accomplishments included the whole team MVP for almost every win. Week 2 MVP, Elena Hadley and Lily Devine, voted as league MVP by the league directors. And whereas none of these accomplishments would have been possible with the unwavering support of the team parents who were integral in guiding the team to victory in the tournaments, but throughout life. And now therefore I, Harry R. Schlegel, mayors along with the members of this council, do hereby recognize and heartily congratulate the 2023-2024 Plum 5th grade girls basketball team on its accomplishment of an outstanding season. In witness whereof, I, Harry R. Schlegel, have hereunto set my hand on this 10th day of June, 2024. Girls. Who wants to give this to one of the coaches? You want to give it to one of the coaches? Thank you, girls. Now, just so you know, nothing in life is free. You got to stay the entire meeting. I'm kidding. And this proclamation is honoring the 2023-2024 Plum 6th grade boys basketball team. Boys, come on up. Whereas Plum Council and I are proud to recognize the achievements of the youth of our community. And whereas the Plum 6th grade boys basketball team defeated Armstrong in the finals of the Kiski League to complete a perfect 8-0 regular season. And whereas they again defeated Armstrong in the finals of the Drugs Kill Dreams tournament to complete a 4-0 tournament and qualify to compete in the state tournament. And whereas they defeated Franklin Regional in the finals of the Shaler March Madness tournament to complete 4-0 in that tournament, placed second in the shoot for the 360 holiday tournament to win that tournament 3-1. They placed third in the Pittsburgh Youth Basketball League to complete a 9-3 season and qualify to compete in the state tournament, where they placed seventh in the 6th grade Gold Division Pennsylvania State Tournament. And whereas these accomplishments would not have been possible without all 10 players performing at a high level every game. These include Gavin Pucka, Max Richardson, Camden DeBlasio, Mason Morgan, Cameron Kiss, Joey Emanuel, Caden Halasowski, Keegan Embry, Dane Gill, and Brandon Mathau. And whereas individual efforts include Pittsburgh Youth Basketball League All-Star Cameron Kiss, Pittsburgh Youth Basketball League Player of the Game Max Richardson, Cameron Kiss, Gavin Pucka, Camden DeBlasio, Mason Morgan, and Brandon Mathau. And Drugs Kill Teams and Drugs Kill Dreams Tournament Most Valuable Player, Cameron Kiss. Whereas the Plum 6th grade boys basketball team could not have been successful without the dedication of assistant coaches Jake Halasowski and Charlie Kiss and head coach Dave Pucka, who not only taught basketball basics, but they also took the time and made the effort to instill sound principles that will help these young boys to achieve success in life. Whereas none of these accomplishments would have been possible without the unwavering support of the team parents, who were integral in guiding the team to victory in the tournaments, but throughout life. And now, therefore, I, Harry R. Schlegel, Mayor, and the members of Plum Boro Council, do hereby recognize and heartily congratulate the 2023-2024 Plum 6th grade boys basketball team on their outstanding accomplishment. In witness whereof, I, Harry R. Schlegel, have hereunder set my hand on this 10th day of June, 2024. Boys, congratulations. Now, who's going to give us to your coach? Your coach is here? The coach is here? Okay, you take it back, give it to your coaches. Thank you, boys.
Thanks, guys.
And Mr. President, that's all I have.
If anyone wants to leave the meeting now, we can do a brief, or is everyone going to stay?
I don't want to stay.
Thank you.
You are no money.
Okay, let's get back to the meeting, and we're still recognition of achievements in the community.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Michelle Nakarati-Chapkus, and I'm the Allegheny County Councilperson for District 8, which includes Plum Boro. And I wanted to come before you this evening to just give you a little bit of an update of what's happening at the county level. But first, I wanted to stop and congratulate all of the teams that were presented before me tonight. What an amazing accomplishment and exciting for our borough and our community. So the first thing I'm going to start with is probably something that's top of everyone's mind, and it's reassessment. You've heard about that a bit, I'm sure, in the news. As you know, the solicitor for the City of Pittsburgh School District has sued in the Court of Common Pleas to force Allegheny County to complete a reassessment of property taxes. Now, based upon what we know, it is anticipated that the City of Pittsburgh School District will win in the court and the county will begin preparing for a reassessment. While there most likely will be little to no role for county council, we still want to hear from residents and experts in this regard. So on May 22nd, we held a public meeting, a hearing, and so you can all go onto the website and view that. There were experts from around the region and across the state who presented their experiences going through a reassessment, and residents all across the county also presented their views. Still would like to hear from all of you, anybody who's listening in this evening who wants to share their concerns and input. This lawsuit was precipitated by another known as the Joffrey case, which challenged what's known as the common level ratio numbers that were submitted to the state by the previous administration. The CLR is used when appeals are made. If the CLR is high, it means that homeowners are paying more than they should. So there were 3 ordinances that County Council adopted this year that I wanted to just give you a high-level summary over. The first one is, now they all end in 2-4, so I'll not include that, but the first one is 12915. And this is the Chief Assessment Officer Ordinance. So with the county on the verge of this reassessment, as discussed, Council felt that it was important to ensure that the county's Chief Assessment Officer has more oversight and accountability within that department. So therefore, this person will be hired by the county manager with approval by county council, just like the county manager goes through that process, the solicitor are also approved by council. So this CAO will also provide quarterly reports to council so that we have a mechanism for transparency with all of us. 12917, this permitted the board members of the Board of Property Assessment Appeal and Review to hear appeals as long as their training is completed. Again, we want to make sure that those who are before the Assessment Appeal Review Board, the board members, have the training to be able to properly hear these cases. So this should help expedite the ability for homeowner appeals to be heard in a reasonable time frame. 12918, this mandated specific timeline of 60 days by which homeowners' appeals will be decided. Again, this is getting to timeliness of responses for appeals. We often heard that they were taking a long time, so putting these ordinances in place assures that that happens more quickly. There was 13056. I'm giving these numbers in case any of the viewers would want to go in and read a little bit more about each of those. This ordinance would change the time frame of when property owners would file an appeal. So this just happened at the June 4th meeting. So currently the deadline is March 31st. This was just the deadline for Allegheny County. All other counties across the Commonwealth had a different date. So this was more of a housekeeping just to keep in line with what other counties were doing across the state. The ordinance changes the deadline to September 1st, meaning that you will know what your property tax bill will be for the next year under this timing. We thought that this would be of great value and benefit to municipalities. Every other county in PA has September 1st as their deadline, and now Allegheny County will be the same. This matter passed unanimously, as I mentioned, on June 4. 13042, this happened recently too. This is an ordinance to approve the county health department's Article 6 of their regulations. Article 6 is called the Housing and Community Environment Ordinance. It's the public health code that guides all of the environment and housing activity across the county. So one of the key components of this regulation is the establishment of an advisory committee that will advise the Board of Health on housing issues. So the county code, the public health code, the last time it had been revised and written was in 1997. So if you can think about where all of you were in 1997, it was a pretty long time. There were some housekeeping minor things that were updated this past year, but this will give an opportunity for an advisory committee to really take a complete, holistic look at the code and really provide what we anticipate would potentially be a repeal and replace, like the food safety regulations happened a few years ago. This ordinance is currently in the Council Health and Human Services Committee, and this is open for public comment right now, so if anybody has any public comments they'd like to provide, now is the time to do so. I would also encourage, and this goes along with something else that I wanted to share with all of you related to boards and commissions. There's an opportunity for residents all across the county to really become engaged in county activity. And so like this Housing Advisory Committee that's being established, there are many more boards and commissions and task forces all across the county. And so this includes important economic development boards, things like Port Authority, the airport, and others. So if you know anybody that is interested in joining any of those boards and serving on a commission such as that, please submit your resume or a letter of interest. There are nomination forms that we can get to all of you. Send it along to me, and then you can find the list of boards and commissions at the county website, which is apps.alleghenycounty.us. And there's one for /boards. So I really encourage people to get excited and engaged in that process and volunteer their time. Next, Schumann Center reopening. This is something that has been of interest to folks. So as you're most likely aware, Schumann Center for Juvenile Detention was closed a couple of years ago by the state. It has been the desire by many to reopen the site to house a juvenile population. Renovations have been ongoing for probably about the last 12 months or so, maybe 9. It's anticipated that a pod for 12 juveniles will be open by the end of June. So County Council had an opportunity to go and take a tour of Schumann. It's coming along nicely. Its construction is well underway. There's a couple of little more construction task force little lists that have to be updated, punch list items, so to speak. But we are anticipating by the end of June that it'll be open and ready to go. And it's anticipated that the entire facility will end up reopening at some point in the distant future. And so the goal is to house 60 juveniles there. 911 communication upgrades. So Allegheny County Emergency Services has contracted with the telecommunications company Motorola to create the new system. County officials describe the current system as a patchwork of sorts, and this is a patchwork of municipal and county 911 systems, many of which are nearing the end of their usefulness and may lack the necessary technical support. So this new system will be the first countywide system launched in the county. It'll operate and manage all emergency and non-emergency communications, and that's between 911 Communication Center and the nearly 400 public safety agencies, regional county partners, and the state. So this is moving forward, and it'll probably take about a good 2 years to thoroughly complete. And then the Climate Action Plan. So in 2023, Council had approved a Climate Action Plan ordinance that was passed, and this requires the county's Department of Sustainability to develop a Climate Action Plan, and this is to be in place by July 1. So this date is going to be extended likely due to a change in the executive administration, and there was just an RFP that was put out today in terms of getting a consultant to help to put the plan together and move it forward. And that draws me to the conclusion of my report out. I wanted to just make sure that you all were aware of the things that were happening in County Council, and I have business cards if anybody would like those. And I'll just finish on something that hits close to home in our own backyard, and that's the Friends of Boyce Park. And so we have established that, and that's been underway for about 1.5 years. They've been meeting now, and so there are residents from all over the community that are participating. There's still room to participate as a Friends of Boyce Park member. You can let us know if you're interested in that. Anybody that's tuning in this evening that might have an interest in either the recreation or the natural environment of Boyce Park, we'd love to have their input. The committee has been doing really wonderfully in terms of looking at infrastructure needs and safety needs, and this year we had our first photo contest to highlight the park and bring some attention to it. So with that, I will conclude, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
I have one quick question,
Sure.
and I may have missed it, you may have said it. When will the citizens realize their new assessment?
So this will be a while, a long while, we anticipate in the making. Right now, there's nothing that the county is doing or county council. We're letting the court system through the Court of Common Pleas let that evolve and see how that goes. But in the meantime, the administration was working on a study as well to understand reassessments. This hadn't been done in our county since 2012. And so as you can imagine, there's a lot to learn in the process. And so we want to make sure, and the administration wants to make sure that it's done properly. And so getting the input and advice from experts is key to that process. So I wouldn't even anticipate something by the end of this year.
Okay, thank you.
But we'll certainly keep you all informed as that continues to progress.
Good. You done?
Yep.
Okay. Just so you know, we represent Plum School, Penn Hills School Board, and Gateway School Board. And we're actively involved in the assessment process. So that you're aware, there are 2,022 hearings that have been held and haven't been decided by the county. That's not our fault, that's their fault. And that means there are also appeals for 2023 that haven't been decided. We are now in the process of filing, or they are done, because as she said, March 31st was the last day. We have filed all of our district appeals. That's on our side. Owner appeals are the opposite. The owners can take appeals, and those have all had to have been filed by March 31st for 2024. So to answer your question, when will these get decided? 2024? Unless the process changes in some fashion, it could be a couple of years before we actually get a decision on some of these cases. And that's too bad. That really makes for a difficult situation trying to plan budgets.
Thank you, Bruce.
I have a question. I'd like to know how, because we had to raise taxes on the municipality level and the school district this year. Why does the city of Pittsburgh get to do a reassessment that affects all of us in the suburbs when we have nothing to do with the city of Pittsburgh School District?
Well, the city of Pittsburgh are the ones who instituted the
Understood.
lawsuit. So there aren't any other school districts or municipalities that have done that to date, but that will prompt some action by the courts. And it was likely that there was a lot of discrepancy, and it went in front of the courts already about the CLR numbers being skewed. And so that was one thing that already was discussed and decided in the courts. And so we're trying to get the CLR in terms of actual numbers that were in line, and so that has gotten better with the most recent legal proceeding. But it was likely that at some point this was going to happen because it had been 2012. All of the other states in the country have a cyclical approach to reassessments, and Pennsylvania is the only one that doesn't. And so that's why there's been some discussion and push at the state legislative bodies to really get something that is more cyclical, so we don't wait 12 years and have an issue like we do now. So we're learning from Beaver County, who had just gone through their reassessment. Washington County went through their reassessment. But unfortunately, that's where we're at.
And so, Harry, so you know, the litigation, which is, I'm not sure if it's been filed by the city yet or not, is for a county-wide assessment.
I understand that.
Not
I'm
just,
saying, why isn't just the city of Pittsburgh reassess them? That's whose school district it is that's in trouble. We increase our millage rates here.
you've got to realize that this also affects Plum.
I know it does.
Okay.
I know it does. But
Well, because it's a countywide system and a countywide body, so,
As a tax
yeah.
collector, I understand
Sure.
that it's affecting all the school districts, or all the municipalities and school districts. So it's not a windfall for them, but they're getting the money. I understand
No,
that.
they haven't gotten anything.
No, but they will get it sometime in the future.
At the same time, you will get it.
Yes. And again, I was the tax collector for that fiasco in 2012. And there's a lot of businesses that left Allegheny County because of the reassessment and moved to Beaver and Butler. and Washington counties, all right? This is a city of Pittsburgh issue as far as I'm concerned. Did they increase their millage on the properties in Pittsburgh? No, they did not. They don't do what we do out here. Yet they're asking, let's get a countywide reassessment because we need money.
Right.
I know where I'm going, and you're not gonna answer not gonna give me a good answer to
I
answer.
know where you're going
Yeah,
to,
understood.
but I will say that your unique experience as a tax collector and going through the process in 2012, I would encourage you to reach out and have a conversation with the administration, because that's the type of information that people need to hear from right now. I don't know when this reassessment countywide will happen. I don't know if it'll be prompted by the decision of the courts. Perhaps the administration is trying to get ahead of it. There's a study underway so that we can understand how to be more net neutral so people don't have a big impact, and whether there could be a cap that is in place. But I would say you've got a unique expertise in that space to be able to share with the administration. I'd love for you to
Well, the other
give them a
thing
call.
is, throughout most of the counties go with an assessed value, not the fair market value
Right.
as Allegheny County does. Hence, property taxes are lower in all the surrounding counties.
And that's where I'm sure all of you have seen, and that's where all the appeals have been in front of the review board now, is all of the new transactions that have occurred.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Wait, before you go, I just want to publicly thank you for supporting the tax credit for the fire departments.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that moves us to civic announcements.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pam Calfo from the Plum Library. I just want to thank everyone who has come out and supported our summer reading program so far. We've been very, very busy at the library, which has been excellent. Anyone can sign up for our summer reading program throughout the entire summer. And then I want to highlight one fantastic program we're having this Friday from 11:30 to 3:30. We're partnering with the Carnegie Museum of Natural History, and they're actually doing a pop-up museum at the library for 4 hours. It's free, anyone, and it's geared towards all ages, kids, adults, teens, anyone. We're really excited for this partnership. It's Friday, June 14th from 11:30 to 3:30. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Any other civic announcements? Okay, president's comments, I have none. It moves us to citizens' comments on agenda items. There are none. Takes us into council actions. Mr. Majernik.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee, I move to approve Resolution 989-24, approving the GAMA Sports Consolidation Plan, FSC-03-24, as recommended by the Borough Engineer.
I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Majernik. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second from Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee, I move to approve the GAMA Sports Parking modification request as recommended by the Planning Commission.
I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Majernik. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Schlock. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee, I move to approve Resolution 990-24, approving the GAMA Sports Land Development Plan, SP-01-24, with conditions as recommended by the Planning Commission.
I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Majernik. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second by Mr. Seitz. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee, I move to approve Resolution 991-24, recognizing and approving the Malley Subdivision Sewage Planning Module.
I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Majernik. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second from Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Majernik. That moves me to Mr. Seitz, Personnel and Management.
Thank you, Mr. Dern. On behalf of the Personnel Management Committee, I move to approve revisions to the administrative section of the borough's organizational chart.
I have a motion on the floor for Mr. Seitz. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Majernik. Any discussion?
I have one thing. I spoke with Mr. Sablosley today, and I just want to make it known for the taxpayers out there that this will not impact our yearly budget, correct?
Correct. Any other questions?
That's it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Also, on behalf of the Personnel Management Committee, I move to approve cost of living adjustments for 3 retired police officers as recommended by the borough actuary.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Seitz. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second from Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. That's it? Thank you, Mr. Seitz. Nothing on public safety, nothing on Parks and Rec, and that moves us to Mr. Schlock and the Finance Committee.
Thanks, Mr. President. On behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to adopt ordinance 981-24, amending the local tax collection law as required by Act 57 of 2022.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Schlock. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Ms. Rossler. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to approve revisions to the borough's check signing policy as recommended by the Borough Finance Director.
I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Schlock. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second by Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's all I have.
Okay, and Mr. Taylor, there's nothing there. And just for a word, we do discuss all these motions at the council work session. So there is time and effort put into it then. So this is just the voting session, just to keep everybody updated on that. Okay, that moves us to the mayor's report.
Thank you again. In May, our police department responded to 987 calls for service, and that's a 10% decrease from April. And my favorite topic, the ATS radar speed sign. That was deployed on Logan Ferry Road, westbound, from May 1st through the 28th. And the following information. I'm always amazed at the number of vehicles that go past these signs, and that's one way. 19,706 vehicles. The posted speed limit is 25 miles an hour. Some idiot went 69. We also had the radar speed sign deployed at 3234 Leechburg Road, and that was southbound from the 13th through the 20th, from the 13th to the 30th of May. And again, 18,553 vehicles were timed over a 16-day period. And again, that's one way. And some idiot in the 25-mile-an-hour zone decided to do 62 mile an hour. And the sign was deployed on Francis Road from May 16th through the 28th. This is Francis Road. A total of 3,137 vehicles over a 13-day period. The average speed was 24. Again, that speed limit is 25. And of course, some idiot had to go and do 47. And one of these days, you're going to speed past one of those radar signs, and there's going to be a police officer sitting there. So just bear that in mind. And the only other thing I have, again, is thoughtful citizens who take the time and make the effort to thank our police officers by bringing those officers what they need, more calories. On May 6th, Michael Cerniglia of Michael's Painting delivered cookies and donuts for our officers in appreciation for their continued dedication to the borough and its residents. And again, on May 16th, Michael Cerniglia delivered a cake in honor of National Law Enforcement Week. And on May 18th, Deborah Lee Bell contacted the police department regarding a cake which was donated by the Bowl for Cure organization. The cake was received by our police officers at Nesbitt Lanes. And again, I didn't get a bite. But we do have a scale down there for our officers to get weighed. And that's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And now we move to committee reports. Intergovernmental Cooperative Committee, we really don't have a report. We didn't meet this month. Mr. Seitz with personnel, please.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. On the Personnel Committee report, Colton Duke was appointed as the Borough Building Code official and began his employment on May 20th. James Sims was appointed as the Code Enforcement Building Inspector, and he will begin employment on July 15th. Their job opening for the borough's in-house engineer position was posted on April 23rd. So far, there have been 2 applicants, and HR is working to get more exposure to this job listing. Also, the borough has reestablished the Workplace Safety Committee, and it held its first meeting on May 14th. The committee will work to improve safety standards for the borough across all departments, and the committee consists of at least 1 employee from each department. With the completion of 6 monthly meetings and filling out an application, it's also possible the borough could receive a 5% discount on its workers' compensation premiums for having this type of committee. That's my report, Mr. Dern.
Thank you, Mr. Seitz. Mr. Schlock, Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. The borough recognized revenues totaling $1,134,681 and incurred expenditures in the amount of $1,493,250. The draft 2023 independent audit report is scheduled to be received during early June and will be reviewed by the finance director before presenting it at the July or August council meeting. To date, the borough has received $1.85 million in the current year earned income tax revenues, and this represents 42% of the adopted budget. The second quarter cable TV franchise fees were received from Comcast and Verizon, and they totaled $131,375. It is projected that this revenue will end the year approximately $33,000 under budget. It is assumed that residents are increasingly streaming TV services rather than purchasing cable TV services. Personnel-related costs associated with patrol officers are projected to be approximately $163,000 under budget due to delayed hirings and a long-term military assignment. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Schlock. Mr. Purcell's committee will be read by Ms. Rossler.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Holiday Park Stormwater Project has been awarded to W.A. Petrakis. There will be a pre-construction meeting in June. During the construction project, a portion of the Holiday Park Drive and Abers Creek Road will be closed. Grading at the new Renton dump site has been completed. The topsoil from the site was stripped, and some has been used for site work at the Borough Building. Next is partial restoration of the ditch line where the new water line was installed on Mike Thomas Way has been completed. The remaining restoration work will be completed when the project is finished by the contractor. And last, the asphalt milling and patchwork has been completed on McAllister Drive, Shady Avenue, and Browntown Road. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. We're going to stay with you, and you can do your public safety report.
Thank you. I just have two things to mention. Morgan McGilrath, from the president of Unity Fire Department, she'll be here next month to talk about how members of the community can help volunteer to help the Plum Fire Departments. So she'll speak at next month's meeting. And number 2, this is just a reminder for the community. There's an ordinance in Plum that requires to have house numbers in clear view for first responders. You can purchase signs with house numbers on our borough website, or you can purchase your own. Thank you, Mr. President.
I didn't forget about you, Mr. Maloney.
Oh, I apologize.
I've got him.
It's always tough to forget about me, but Brian Maloney, Director of Operations, Plum EMS.
Right. It is on. Oh, it is on?
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
I could always speak up. No, I'm good. But, all right, so for the month of May, we ended up responding to 236 responses throughout the community. Ended up transporting 133 patients. We ended up in neighboring communities 12 times. 7 of those resulted in a transport. And of all the EMS that was needed in the Plum, we had to resort to our neighboring communities or agencies to help us out 5.6% of the time. So that happened 13 times throughout the month. So it was actually a little bit of a slower month. It's just all the calls happened at once. So kind of an odd one on there. But along with running emergency calls, doing free car seat safety checks and CPR classes and what we do in the community, we had the opportunity to participate in the O-Block Elementary Carnival. We had a truck up there with a crew member that had a real good time with all the kids and even the parents. They practiced some CPR on mannequin, put some kids on the cardiac monitor, so I had a real nice time with that. And last week we also participated with the school district with a tabletop. It was a mass evacuation and reunification process. We work very closely with the school district, as does the police and even the fire department and the EMA, and working together as a team. You hope that nothing ever happens, but if it does, we try to do the best we can to have a good working relationship. And it's a great group of people throughout everybody I mentioned, so very lucky to have that. And you know, with Plum EMS, one of the things we always strive to do is what more could we be doing for the community, our patients, their families. And once again, that's why we've done the CPR, the car seat safety checks, the free car seats, the free cribs for kids, a lot of public education. We try to do as much as we can, increasing the safety for our crew members in the community. And a number of years ago, we started doing leave behind Narcan for any overdose. And that Narcan a lot of times is for those family members who haven't given up on that person yet. We started leaving resources that for like information about like rehab and clinics that patients can go to, information for family members. We also started adding fentanyl and xylazine test strips because people are going to use if they're, you know, have a substance use disorder, and to try to figure out, okay, is it, you know, laced with something? And so about 10 months after hearing San Antonio, Texas talk about a harm reduction program that they do, and I realized the city of Pittsburgh does it as well, I realized this is something more that we could be doing as well. So for the past 10 months, we've been working with Forbes Hospital, Forbes Family Medicine, UPMC, and developing a harm reduction program here in Plum. And so anytime we're going to be responding to an overdose and that person received Narcan, we're going to be able to have, starting in July, a medication to administer to help with some of the withdrawal symptoms, help with the nausea, and talk to a doctor at the Forbes Family Medicine Opiate Disorder Clinic and get them in the pipeline. This is the kind of thing, because there's a small window after somebody uses that they're most vulnerable and receptive to help. Because after that, the withdrawal symptoms start kicking in. The only way they can get out of it again is if they use. And so if we can help them get into that system, that's what our goal is. So working with Forbes Hospital, Plum EMS is actually going to be kind of, you know, the guinea pig to see how well we can make this work. Because if it works out well, Forbes Hospital wants to use this program for their footprint and work with their different EMS agencies in different communities. So we will be the only second service in the Commonwealth to be able to do this. This is a pilot protocol. We had to receive a lot of approval, and there's been a lot of work. So I'm very proud of the team because we have 26 champions leading this program, and that's everybody who works for us. They're willing to go above and beyond for the patients, for their families, for the community. So very, very proud of that. So questions, comments, a little story to make me smile?
Brian?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, I want to thank you for all that the EMS does for our community, but I wanted to ask you, are you doing anything at the upcoming Summerfest this month, later this month? Are they participating in any way?
I'm going to be there with my good looks and charming personality, but we're actually working with the Rotary and the American Legion because we're trying to do some fundraising for our child safety program. And so we partnered up with them, and they're going to be helping do that. And so we'll be there. And then plus on Saturday night, what we also do is we hand out glow-in-the-dark necklaces to all the kids, you know, as it starts getting darker before all the fireworks. So we'll be there. So if you got a splinter or anything, you know, I'll be there all day Saturday, and I'll be there Friday night as well.
Great work, Brian. Thanks for being so proactive.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, Mr. Majernik.
Thank you, Mr. Dern. The Planning and Economic Development Committee report. The Community Development Department issued 113 permits in May. The Planning Commission met in May to discuss 3 submissions. GAMA Sports Land Development was recommended for approval. The Agricultural Security Area was tabled, and Parkside Phase 3 was recommended to accept the application as complete. The Zoning Hearing Board, whose illustrious president is with us tonight, met for 3 hearings. They approved 2 and closed the case to gather findings and facts on a 3rd. Staff continues to discuss engineering related to the Patriot Estates PRD Phase 1. Code enforcement completed 74 residential and apartment occupancy inspections and addressed 44 violations in May. Additionally, sign removal was conducted and a code enforcement officer attended magisterial court for junk and debris. That's it.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Trimming and grass maintenance was ongoing through May. Monthly safety inspections were completed on borough playgrounds. At Renton Park, 3 trees were installed along the hillside, water fountains were turned on, and a routine field maintenance was performed to keep the field in good playing condition. This summer's first movie in the park was hosted this past Saturday at the amphitheater. July's movie will be on Saturday, July 6th. Next week is the borough's annual Summerfest event at Larry Mills Park. The event runs from Thursday evening through Saturday evening and concludes with fireworks show from Zambelli. C&L shows will be there with their games and rides, and the cost of tickets will be $20 on Thursday and $25 on Friday and Saturday. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Okay, no one has signed up for non-agenda items. Is anyone wishing to speak to the large audience? Okay, I'm going to ask for an adjournment. I have a motion on the floor for adjournment from Mr. Majernik and a second by Mr. Taylor. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned.